Some breaking news right now. Disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein has taken his own life while he was behind bars here in New York City.
Epstein, who was awaiting trial on federal sex trafficking charges, hanged himself with a bedsheet.
This has set off a wild wave of conspiracy theories online, the sort of stuff that only unstable tinfoil hat loons could possibly believe.
Jeffrey Edward Epstein may have died in 2019, but people have been asking questions about him for far longer. In 2002, New York Magazine wrote a puff piece about this debonair man about town, starting, "He comes with cash to burn, a fleet of airplanes, and a keen eye for the ladies." Epstein mingles with the highest of New York high society as a mysterious, Gatsby-esque figure. He's constantly seen with socialite Ghislaine Maxwell, his platonic partner in crime. Together, they may be found partying with Prince Andrew, the Duke of York, or on a week-long African tour with former President Bill Clinton and actors Kevin Spacey and Chris Tucker, aboard one of Epstein's private jets no less, a Boeing 727. Epstein doesn't partake in alcohol or other drugs, but he does have a taste for the finer things in life. He owns the largest townhouse in Manhattan, a Palm Beach villa, a New Mexico ranch, a Parisian apartment, and a private island in the Caribbean. The man has money coming out the wazoo, but no one knows exactly where it comes from. We're going to explore where Epstein probably got his money from in a minute. But first, a quote from Donald Trump, former and probably future President of the United States. "I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with. It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. No doubt about it, Jeffrey enjoys his social life." That's a funny thing to say considering Jeffrey was a pedophile. Wall Street, where your life savings become the quarter in another monkey's slot machine. In 1976, after working as a high school math teacher, Epstein got a job at Bear Stearns Investment Bank as a floor trader's assistant. He started at the bottom, but was what Bear Stearns chairman Alan Greenberg called a PSD, poor, smart, and a deep desire to be rich, a real Jordan Belfort type. By age 27, the charismatic Epstein had risen to limited partner. Then, he left. Upon leaving, Epstein founded Intercontinental Assets Group Incorporated, a consulting company. Working as a financial bounty hunter, he returned money stolen from his clients by crooked brokers. In 1986, he founded money management firm J. Epstein & Co. Here, Epstein begins to cultivate his unique brand. 1. He'll only charge customers a modest flat fee of 0.5% for his services. 2. He'll only consult billionaires. You have a measly $500 million in your portfolio? Keep walking, peasant. But Epstein kept his clientele list a secret from the public. No one really knew if he was telling the truth or not. In fact, there's now evidence he did in fact consult lowly single-digit millionaires. You know, like you and me. At the time, only one client was known publicly, billionaire Leslie Wexner, founder of L Brands, which once owned these companies. These two men had a curious relationship. For starters, that massive Manhattan townhouse Epstein resided in, that was Wexner's. He let Epstein live there, possibly for free, before selling him the house for $10 in 2011. Epstein even had power of attorney over Wexner's entire estate from 1991 to around 2008. This is massive. Even if you trust them completely, you don't just give someone complete control over your money like that. It's a big risk to do so. So what gives? Well, what if Epstein was actually a con artist? According to Rolling Stone, Jeffrey Epstein had a term for the perfect execution of the grift. He called it playing the box, which meant that he ensured that even if his crime was uncovered, the victim would be unable to do anything about it, either because of social embarrassment or because the money was tucked away in a place where they couldn't either find it or get it. This information comes courtesy of Epstein's late mentor, NYC financier Stephen Hoffenberg. In the late 1980s, Hoffenberg ran a debt collection agency, Tower Financial Corporation. He hired Epstein as a consultant for the company and paid him $25,000 a month. Hoffenberg claims he and Epstein were colleagues daily, 7 days a week, for years. The fact that Epstein worked at Towers Financial is significant, seeing as the whole thing was just a massive Ponzi scheme. Quick reminder, a Ponzi scheme is a form of fraud where investors are lured into a seemingly legitimate venture with promises of high returns. Really, all the profits come from funds collected from new investors. It's a classic con. As long as new money is always entering the system, the people at the top make bank. Stephen Hoffenberg, through Towers Financial Corporation, swindled investors out of $460 million. At the time, it was the largest Ponzi scheme in American history. The largest now being Bernie Madoff, who stole a staggering $65 billion. Hoffenberg claimed Epstein was intimately familiar with the operation, ultimately offshoring some $100 million in profits. That's unconfirmed. We do know Epstein turned informant for the Securities and Exchange Commission, cooperating against Hoffenberg. In 1995, Stephen Hoffenberg pled guilty to securities fraud and was sentenced to 20 years in prison. Jeffrey Epstein was never charged. It would make sense to me that if someone ran a con, then got away with it, they would run another, better con. So was Jeffrey Epstein's money management firm a Ponzi scheme? Bernie Madoff ran his through an asset management company. Isn't it possible Jeffrey Epstein did the same thing with his own? Epstein wrote a will shortly before his death. In it, he claimed to be worth a staggering $577 million. For perspective, that's about the same as current British monarch King Charles III. Though, unlike His Royal Highness, Epstein worked for his money. It's hard work running a Ponzi scheme. Now, Stephen Hoffenberg, convicted professional liar, is to be believed. Jeffrey Epstein wanted to evolve the con further. He wanted to ensure that even if his victims uncovered the plot, they would be unable to report it for risk of social embarrassment. Now, put yourself in the shoes of Jeffrey Epstein. How would you keep people from spilling the beans? Any ideas? Stop eating that.
I just thought, it's my fault. I was obligated, that's just what you're supposed to do. So I really did not know better.
I really don't mind when rich people steal from other rich people. That's basically how capitalism works. But I draw the line well before this evil. Epstein found a solution to his problem by combining two of his passions: financial chicanery and underage girls. Many victims had a similar experience to survivor Jennifer Rose. When she was 14, she was recruited from her high school by one of Epstein's female assistants. Why her? She fit the profile: young, pretty, and from a broken home. The kind of person the police wouldn't believe with a crazy story of being sex trafficked to the wealthy elite. Rose claimed she was invited to Epstein's Manhattan residence where they chatted over glasses of wine. Nothing else happened. At the end of the night, she was given $300 cash. From there, things escalated, with Rose being paid to come over a couple times a week to give Epstein massages in her underwear. Depending on the visit, she was molested or asked to touch Epstein while he pleasured himself. When she was 15, she alleges he raped her. She did not go to law enforcement. Although that was her final incident with Epstein, his staff continued to contact her for over a year. She suffered from anxiety, depression, and panic attacks for years to come. At least she was able to extricate herself. There's a reason I've been using the term survivor for Epstein's victims. They don't all live. At least one girl who he allegedly molested later died of a heroin overdose, a death of despair, caused by the trauma of cruel sexual abuse perhaps? But it gets worse. Sometimes the girls would become recruiters themselves, perpetuating the perverted system. Survivor Courtney Wild personally recalls recruiting some 80 girls in Palm Beach, Florida, while being abused herself. Why? She was being paid commission for every one she brought in. Epstein reportedly told her the younger, the better. And of course, some of the teens she recruited later became recruiters themselves. It's a pyramid scheme, except the product isn't essential oils, it's children. Abuse happened everywhere. The townhouse, the mansion, the ranch, the apartment, the airplane you used to get between them all. Did you know that the airplane was given the nickname the Lolita Express, and that his Caribbean island, Little St. James, was dubbed by locals as Pedophile Island, Orgy Island, and Island of Sin? The trafficking allegedly occurred from 1985 to 2018. Across a span of 30 years, that's possibly hundreds of girls. So we think Jeffrey Epstein set this up, at least in part, for his own deranged enjoyment. The question is, was anyone else involved? Did Epstein traffic any of these girls to his clients or friends? In my opinion, the FBI should question everyone who associated with Epstein, and that includes both of these former commanders-in-chief. Look, here they are, hobnobbing with the devil. This woman, Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's literal partner in crime. She did it all: recruiting, trafficking, participating in the abuse. I won't be able to spend any more time on her. Just know she's around through all this, and is just as terrible as him. Now, you're probably thinking, there are a lot of people involved here. How long can this pedophile ring remain a secret? Well, it's like Ben Franklin said, 3 may keep a secret if 2 of them are dead.